Okay, good morning, everyone. Let's get started. Right, yesterday we understood, SQL, why it is needed for Power BI, right? So as per the plan, we'll start the SQL sessions today. And then after 15 days, we'll move on to Power BI. So by the time you get into Power BI sessions, you will have fair understanding about a server, what is a database, what is a table, what is a view, what is a relationship, how to create the joins, right? How to work with bigger data sets, right? How to figure out what is a primary key, foreign key, different things are there. So we'll start with SQL today. I think most of the online participants have also joined. So let's get started. As I mentioned, this is batch number B00655, and any information that you need, you can reach out to the front office with this number and they will help you out with the registration process and as well as how to download the material, how to access the videos. I hope all of you are part of the B00655 permanent group. If you are part of the temporary group in WhatsApp, something that starts with a T, just get in touch with the front office to get you added into the permanent group. Okay, fine then. So I already explained you why SQL is needed. There may be new joiners also today. So let me show you why SQL is needed. You're working in a reporting layer using Excel or Power BI or different kind of applications. But to build the reports, what is that we need? We need the data. So data in small organizations, you find the data sets in CSV files or Excel files or, different places they store the data. But when it comes to a bigger organization, as the number of transactions are there, many transactions are there, they cannot use simple Excel sheets. They definitely need to have a database. So if you want to create a report using Excel, you need data, and this data is available in some database. It could be SQL Server database, Oracle database, Sybase, Teradata, DB2, SAP HANA, MS Access. Different databases are available. So you need to learn how to extract the data from a database and use the data for your reports. But how to extract the data? Here we go. We need to use a language, SQL, structured query language, to interact with our server and get the required amount of data. A simple example would be, your database may contain last 10 years data, but as a reporting analyst, you may not need to, analyze all 10 years data. You just need to analyze only the last 6 months data. That means you should be able to write a SQL query. Though your database has 10 years data, you should restrict the data extraction only for the last 6 months. So for that, we use different kind of clauses and all. Okay. So using a where clause or depends on the kind of, joins and all we use. Done. So this is what we are going to learn as part of our SQL session. So you will interact with the databases and get the required amount of data and get that into your reporting layer and use any of these tools to create the reports. That's what we are going to do, right? Hope it makes it clear, everyone, why we are learning SQL, because if you want to create a report, you need the data and you understand that the data is there in database. From the database tables, if you want to extract the data, you need a language. Okay, so I'll explain this entire scenario with a different example also soon, okay, so that you will understand why SQL is needed. Right. Here we go. Let us talk about a restaurant example now. Easy to understand also. Okay. Consider this entire restaurant as your database environment. Okay. So a restaurant, consider that as your database environment. And here we visit the restaurant as a client. Okay, you are a customer to the restaurant, right? So the way it works is like this. You are a customer, nothing but you are a client. Okay, you go to a restaurant. So that's our database environment complete, right? So you visit the restaurant for what is the reason? What could be the reason you visit a restaurant? For what? Hmm. Yeah. For to order some food. Right. Okay, perfect. So as soon as you visit the restaurant, directly go to the kitchen and you order the food there. No, right? No. So you find a table, you sit there. Someone will come to you. Who is it? Waiter. A waiter. Any alternative names? Waiter or restaurant manager. Manager, maybe. Any other? Can we call that person server? Server. Server, bearer, server, right? Okay, perfect. So a server comes to you and you place your request, right? You look at the menu card and you say that, okay, I want so and so, right? And this server goes to the kitchen and there, says that, okay, table number so and so, we need to order something. This is a food and prepare it. And after some time, the server will come back to you with the food. Simple, right? In this entire scenario, what are we? We are a customer to the restaurant, right? With whom we spoke? So, server. And what did server do there? Went to the kitchen, picked up the food, and delivered it to us. Done? Easy to understand? It's a very normal example, right? Okay, here we go. We are a customer, right? Let us call ourselves as client. Is it okay? Right. And with whom we spoke? Server. So a client speaks to the server. Done. And let's say you visit a Hyderabad restaurant in Hyderabad and you start talking in Spanish, okay, to that server. Is it okay? And you want to place an order for something and you're talking to that person in Spanish. Is that okay? No? If he knows the language, then yeah. But let's say a local Hyderabadi. Local Hyderabadi, that's a difficult language. Yeah. Let's say German, is it okay? No? No. Maybe a Mandarin or something? No? Japanese? No? Okay, if I speak in Hindi, then server understands, right? Server understands. Okay. So why are you using Hindi only here, or Telugu or English in Hyderabad restaurant? Native language. That means the server can understand it, right? So that means you are using a language that is understood by the server. So here, as a client, you are talking to a server, which is a commonly understandable language, right? To place an order for the food. The same commonly understandable language between the client and the server is SQL. SQL, structured query language, right? Let's say when it comes to SQL language, other questions will also come. People talk about Oracle SQL, MySQL, TSQL, ANSI SQL. Different variants are there. It's simple. Let's say in Hyderabadi restaurant, you placed an order using Telugu. The server, can that person be able to understand? Maybe to some extent, right? They understand it in here, most of the places. But if you go to Rayalaseema, right, and you place an order, you want to place an order using Telugu language, is it okay? Kind of okay. And you go to Andhra and you want to place an order there using Telugu, is it okay? You see that there are different variants of Telugu. Yes or no? Similarly, in SQL also we have different variants from different companies. But that base remains same. Like Telugu, though it has different accents are the variants. In English also we have British accent is different, US accent is different. Right? The usage is different, right? But people ultimately they can understand it. What is it? Similarly, when it comes to SQL, though it has different variants, all of them they follow using the same rules. The base is same, right? So TSQL, Oracle SQL, MySQL, different languages are there, different variants are there, but concepts wise, all of them they look very much similar. Maybe the keywords here and there they may be little different, right? So in the restaurant, we as a customer, nothing but a client, we speak with the server. Server is a server only, using a common language. That common language is SQL. Now the server job, once server understands your requirement, goes to your database, which is nothing but your kitchen. In kitchen, you have so many ingredients. Nothing but in our database environment, there are tables, there are views, there are constraints, keys, right? There are rules, there are security rules. So many things are there in the kitchen, right? Now, what you need to do is, what server needs to do is understand, a server already understood your requirement, right? So it creates your food, nothing but your data output using all those ingredients, nothing but your tables and views, right? Prepares it, comes back here in the restaurant, comes back with the food, here in the server database, comes back with a data set. We call it data set or a result set. Okay, now easy to understand. We are clients. We talk to server using a common language. The server job is to understand our requirement, go to the database, prepare our data using joins, primary keys, foreign keys, filters, having clause, group by, different aggregations, and do all that mixing and come back with a result set. Is it fine? Right? Perfect. So you go to a restaurant and you place a very tricky order. I want biryani, but with less spices, with more plain rice in it. Okay, and I want to eat only 100 grams. I can't have more, so bring only 100 grams. Make sure it is delivered with what do we say, 35 degrees heat. Okay, that warmness of that food, right? And it should be delivered only in a what is that, banana leaf, right? You give a very specific requirement, and the restaurant offers that for a fact. Okay, when you give a very specific requirement, tell me something. Someone who placed an order, something like get me one biryani. Something is already readily available there and that served in the plate and gets that food, right? But when you give this kind of a requirement, would there be any difference in the time in terms of processing?
Yes.
Yes. Because you have a very specific custom requirement.
Yes.
It will take some time, right? So that means when your SQL query is really tricky with so many conditions, so many joins, so many tables, views involved in it, usually takes more time. It's as simple as that. When you place a very tricky requirement for your food, right? It does the same thing. Does the same thing in the server also. When your data requirement is so tricky, it will take more time. Understood? Right. So with that, you got some idea, right? What is the language we are going to use here? SQL. Which variant of SQL? It is TSQL. We use TSQL, Transact SQL. Why Transact SQL only? Because our server is Microsoft SQL Server. In Hyderabad restaurant, you spoke in Telugu or Hindi language, right? So because we are interacting with Microsoft SQL Server, Microsoft SQL Server understands a TSQL language, Transact SQL, which is one of the variants of SQL, right? Be it Oracle SQL, MySQL, TSQL, all of them, the base is going to be the same keywords almost, or maybe a few here and there they change, but majority of them are same. Okay. If you are good with, you may get one more question also. I'm learning TSQL here, but what if I join a company and they are using MySQL? So do you want me to again invest time and learn MySQL? Okay, once you learn English, okay, you're good with English. You're good with English standards, and let's say you know how to use this grammar and frame the sentences and all, right? Meaningful sentences. Can you survive in UK? Yes. Can you survive in US? Can you survive in Australia? Can you survive in South Africa? They also speak English, right? Yeah. You can survive, right? So what is giving you the confidence? You're not the native, what is it, US English speaker, right? But what is giving you that confidence? But because you know the language, right? The fundamental rules of, framing a sentence and all, they remain same, right? Across all these countries. Usage may be different. The words may be different, but you can still figure out, right? What I'm trying to tell you is, even if you learn TSQL, you will be able to write MySQL, Oracle SQL, any other SQL variant also. My own experience is this: when I learned Oracle SQL. Okay. When I started working with a client, I started working with MySQL, and I'm delivering the session on TSQL. It doesn't really make much difference there. There are a few keywords that you need to remember. Even if you don't remember also, that's fine. Because when you get into a certain situation, you know the language standards, right? You just, Google it, like, this is what I use in, TSQL. What is a similar function in MySQL? It gives you that, just that instead of using this function, use the MySQL function and you can still write the code, right? So those language fundamentals you will learn here for sure, right? So you don't need to worry about which variant of SQL you are learning here. You can do the other SQLs also. Done? Right, learning this SQL, do I need to come from technical background? Absolutely no. Anyone can write SQL queries. Okay, fine then. So before we start the session, I would like to explain you a couple of real-time systems. This is what we need to remember as a data analyst and as a reporting analyst. There are two types of systems we always work with: OLTP, OLAP. What is OLTP? Online transaction processing. OLTP. Online transaction processing. Then there is one more, OLAP, online analytical processing. There are two types of systems available. Every business almost they maintain the same way. Okay. So OLTP, let's talk about OLTP. And the OLTP, what it does, it manages the database modifications. The best example for OLTP is a billing counter. Let's say you go to a shopping mall and you see a billing counter there. So that is basically connected to OLTP. The job of the OLTP is to manage those transactions, because the name itself, it says online transaction processing, right? So what it does, it manages those database modifications, nothing but the transactions management it does, right? So the focus of this OLTP is insert, update, delete. So let's try to understand these things. What is insert, update, delete? Let's say you bought something, right? And you go to the billing counter, right? You picked up products, okay? A couple of shirts, dresses, whatever. So you go to the billing counter and you want to get them billed, right? So what usually happens there when you want to get them billed? You hand over the products, right? And that person scans the, what is it, barcode. Basis on the barcode, all the details belongs to that product will appear on the screen and enters the quantity. Let's say you bought two of the products. Let's say each one is 500. So the total bill is 1,000. And ask like, okay, would you like to make the cash payment or card? And you say it is card, then it swipes the card and a bill gets generated. In this entire process, what happened, there is one transaction recorded. In the transaction, so-and-so customer bought so-and-so, paid using a card. So that is the information will be recorded in one row. So-and-so date timestamp, so-and-so billing executive, so-and-so customer visited. These are the products, 2 quantity, each one 500, 1000 is the bill paid in card, paid by card, okay? That is called one record for us. In Excel, we call it a row. In SQL database tables, we call them, it is a record. One record is entered or inserted. We call it inserted. Okay, fine then. The record has been inserted. Now, while this transaction is happening, this person asked, like, this person asked, what's your mobile number? They usually ask. Why? Because they want to fetch your previous details. The moment they enter and your mobile number and hit enter, all your details, your name, your address, your email address, and all the details. Like, let's say you are a regular customer to them, okay? So all your details populated on the screen. Okay, so-and-so customer and everything validated and generated a bill. And while generating the bill, you also observed something. Your email address was incorrectly updated. I mean, it exists incorrectly, right? You said, what do we say? excel123@gmail.com. But that person entered excel1234@gmail.com at the time of creating your customer record itself. Then you realize and you ask that billing executive, like, my email address is incorrectly mentioned there. Can you update it? And that person be able to update that? Yeah, depends on the rights and all. Yes, that person will be able to update that. And that person asks, like, okay, what is your correct email address? And you said excel123@gmail.com. excel123@gmail.com. Update. Clicked. So your customer record is now being updated. So nothing but you are not inserting any new data. Whatever the existing data is there, you are updating it. Then you also found two addresses there. One is your home address, the other one is your office address. And you said, like, okay, I'm no more working there, so please delete that office address. I just need only my home address to be present here. And that person be able to delete it? Yes, it depends on the access, right? And say that, okay, don't you need this? And you said, yes, I don't need my office address to be here. Then that person selects that office address and deletes it. You see, all these things are transactional basis, right? So you bought something, so inserted, you got your email address updated, and your secondary or alternative address, you got it deleted. So insert, update, delete kind of transactions are most commonly done in this OLTP systems, online transaction processing. The job of these systems is to manage those transactions only. Understood? Billing counter is the best example. Or ATM machine. You know the full form of ATM, right? Automatic teller, right? We usually call
Automatic teller.
it anytime money. So Apollo also came up with one idea, ATM, anytime medicine. Yeah, ATM. Okay, here we go. ATM also a best example of insert, update, delete, right? And you tell me this. You visit ATM, right? The process is like you insert the card and pin. You update the pin. Correct, you update the pin. Nothing but whatever the existing pin is there, you update it. Right? And certain things, if you want to delete, you can delete also, but with the limited access only. I have a question here. You go to ATM and you have 50,000 in your account and you withdraw 5,000. Right? So earlier the balance was 50,000, now you withdraw 5,000. So your balance gets updated to 45,000, right? Now tell me what kind of transaction is it? Is it insert, update, or delete? Update. Insert, update, or delete? You understood the scenario, right? Is it insert, update, or delete? Insert, update, or delete? Online participants, what do you think about this? Insert, update, or delete?
Insert and update.
It's insert and update.
Yes, both.
Insert and update both, okay. Insert update. Okay. Update. Few of you are strongly thinking it is update. A few of you are thinking it is insert update. Okay. It is just insert. No update. I'll tell you why. When you insert a withdrawal amount, 5,000, your balance will automatically gets updated. You no need to trigger one more query to update your balance. Let's say you have 50,000. If you do a minus 5,000, what that will be? Automatically it will show 45,000. It is definitely not an update statement. I'll tell you why. What is update? 50,000 is there. That suddenly changes to 45,000. But don't you want to see the track of it? Why 50,000 has become 45,000? You definitely want to see what did you do with that 5,000, right? You would have withdrawn it from somewhere, or you would have spent it online somewhere, right? So that means you want to see that record. What happens in the update, whatever the record is there, that value gets updated. So that means it doesn't leave any track of it unless you create a history tracking mechanism. Whatever the value is there, that gets updated to a new value. You're getting the point. In the banking transactions, no update. Everything is mostly insert only. If you want to modify your balance, either you need to deposit something or withdraw something. So that means the new record should be added to your table. Yes or no? You're getting the point? So withdrawing the money from ATM is an insert statement, right? It is not updating also. The moment you insert withdrawal 5,000, the balance amount gets into 45,000 there, right? Okay, make some sense now? Okay. So moving on to the next one. The data which is there in OLTP is considered as original source of data. You get a question like, what is this original source? Like, do we have duplication also there? It's not about duplication, but original source of data is nothing but that is where for the first time it gets recorded. Let's say you go to billing counter and you generate a bill. That is where it the very first time into their system, the transaction is available. ATM also, when you go there to ATM and you withdraw something, that is the very first time the transaction got recorded in their systems. Because once the transactions are recorded in one system, the same data can be migrated or copied into different other places also. We'll talk about that later. But this is where the very first time the transactions taking place. That is the reason the OLTP transactions are considered the original source of data. Okay. OLTP has short transactions. Simple. Let me tell you this. When you go to a billing counter to buy something, 2 shirts, how much time would you expect the transaction be completed? 5 minutes? Maybe sometimes less than that. And sometimes it takes some time, right? Why? Because if there are more number of customers, that is one scenario. Sometimes, though there are no more number of customers also, still it would take like 10-15 minutes also. Why? Huh? Correct. Server issue. You usually hear this, you know, they say that, okay, apologies, there is some issue running with server and it is responding very slow and the bills are getting generated very slow. At that time also the transactions take some time, right? Let me go back to our restaurant example only. There is only one server in the entire restaurant. There are 50 tables. We as clients, we occupied all 50 tables, right? How many servers are there to serve the food? Only one. One, right? That person comes to you, takes your request, right? And this person wants to quickly go back to the kitchen, but suddenly someone else from other table calls, okay, hey, wait. And this person stops. I'm just showing you the real-time scenario, how it works in the restaurant, right? And this person goes to that table and says that, okay, we want urgently one water bottle, right? Actually, this person took your order, going to the kitchen so that, gets it processed and quickly delivered it to you. But some other client also placed an order like an urgent, kind of an emergency situation, wants water urgently. Then what happens to your request? It gets delayed. I mean, simple thing, right? And all the 50 customers, customers are going, coming, and all 50 customers are placing orders, different orders, right? Only one server is there. Would you see any latency issue there? Yes. So understand that when a server has certain capacity, if more number of requests are coming, even the server will also respond to it, right? Sometimes the server, due to bad maintenance of it, the the cache or the temp files may be increased, that the processor is not performing at an optimal speed, RAMs got some issue there, right? So due to multiple reasons, the other thing is bad network also while interacting with the servers, right? Due to all these multiple reasons, of course, it's going to be a different topic altogether, but I'm just trying to explain you why the servers respond slow. More number of requests are coming in, and what happens? The servers, they respond slow. So that's when your billing process may also take some additional time. We understood that point, right? Okay, so here we go in the restaurant. If more number of clients are there, only one server serving, then you see the latency issue. But otherwise, usually these kind of transactions are fast. Yes or no? If everything is okay, no other customers are there, you go to the billing counter and you just get it done in like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, done. Right? ATM also. How much time? Few minutes, right? Maybe 2, 3 minutes max. If you're what is that, you're comfortable with that user interface, you know exactly which option is where in that ATM machine. It's like with few clicks, you can get your money or you can deposit the money, right? So all these OLTP transactions are short transactions because they take very less time, right? The other thing is the queries, whatever we trigger, they're simpler. What is that we do in billing? Simple insert, ATM, insert or update, right? These are simpler transactions. I'll talk about what is data normalization and data integrity, right? In our normalization sessions, data normalization sessions. But up to this point, all of you are okay. So OLTP, systems, how they work. Coming to OLAP, online analytical processing, the name itself, if you look at this, this is meant for the analysis purpose. Okay. So it's an online data retrieving and data analysis system. So what do we do here? We retrieve the data and we analyze it. Okay. What we do here is extract the data for analyzing that helps in decision making. See this. The previous one, OLTP, is basically to insert, update, delete. Only the job of the system is to simply insert, update, delete. Only that. And short transactions, easy transactions, simpler queries. But when it comes to OLAP, it is meant to do what? Extract the data, analyze it, draw the insights from the data, and so that it helps in decision making, right? So when we want to extract the data, this is not going to be simple. Why I'm saying it is not going to be simple? Because your business requirements are not simple. They want to see something like this. We want to understand in the last 6 months in the South region, which product category has made the highest profit under so-and-so manager. You see how many different clauses, conditions are there, right? Why your business wants to do this? Because they want to analyze what's going on for that manager in South region for a particular product category, right? Because your requirements itself very complex, right? They usually take more time to process. Okay. So here, the data, whatever you get in OLAP, this is not the original source of data. OLAPs, they get the data from OLTPs. Because I told you, right? OLTP is a place where all your data gets firstly recorded. That data can be moved into or copied into OLAP systems. Nothing but you would have heard something called a data warehouse. What is a data warehouse? Multiple OLTP databases data. We get that into one data warehouse. I'll tell you why this is done. We have Reliance Fresh. Reliance Fresh operates across India, right? They may have other branches also somewhere, some other countries, but Reliance Fresh, let's stick to India only. You have Hyderabad region, consider Hyderabad region, you have Chennai region, Bengaluru region, Mumbai region, Kolkata, Delhi, and different regions are there, and each of which they have different OLTPs to manage their databases. I mean, to manage their data, right? Someone like a CEO who sits in Mumbai location wants to see what happened yesterday, entire Reliance Fresh vertical, what is my total sale value. But this data is located where? It is located in different systems, different data centers, right? Hyderabad, you have one database. Chennai, you have one database. Mumbai, you have one database. Bangalore, you have one database. Kolkata, Delhi, right? But all this data, if you can get all the data into one place, right? Then the CEO directly connects to that one place to understand in entire country, though the data is recorded in different places, right? Now it is there in only one place, and your CEO can directly connect to that and see what happened in entire country yesterday, what happened, right? So that means there has to be a mechanism that should get all the different OLTP systems data into one place, right? Into a data warehouse. Right, here we go. This is where you hear something called ETL, extract, transform, load. So what is this extract, transform, load? And there is a role called ETL developer also. They work with different kind of tools like Informatica or Talent or different tools are there, okay? Different ETL tools. So the job of these ETL developers is to get the different OLTP systems data, extract all the data from the different OLTPs, do the transformation. Transformation is nothing but, to get the data into the required shape and then load the data into one data warehouse. Data warehouse is a central repository of all your different databases. Okay, so that you as a reporting analyst, you connect to the data warehouse wherein all the databases data is there in one place and you directly create a report that shows the entire story of Reliance Fresh yesterday across India, all locations, what happened. You're getting the point? So what is the process that helps us getting all the OLTP's data into one data warehouse is ETL process, extract, transform, load. So these ETL developers, they build the data pipelines. Okay, they are scheduled. Okay, they don't do anything manually. Every day, midnight, you observe something. Most of the businesses, their operations, they stop around 11 o'clock or 11:30 in the midnight till morning 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. You know what do they do? They do all this back-end maintenance activity only, getting all the data into, extract, transform, load the data into your data warehouse. And then next day again, they start their transactions. You're getting the point? Now you're understanding the entire picture, how it works. ETL development is another role we have, but yeah, we are not going to be ETL developers. So we are reporting analysts. So once all the data gets loaded into your data warehouse, that's when our job starts as a reporting analyst or a data analyst. Why? Because we connect to the OLAP systems and that handles a data warehouse inside. What is a data warehouse? It's a central repository of all your data, right? You get a question, why do I need to work with data warehouse? Why can't I directly go with the OLTP database? That is where the data is there, right? In Chennai database, Hyderabad database. Can't I connect to that and do the reports? Yes, you can do that. But you need to interact with different sources. As all the data is not located in one place, right? A simple thing I can tell you in a normal, in any organization, in any normal process, okay? There is some hierarchy, right? See this. A manager is there. Manager has 4 assistant managers. Each assistant manager has 20 employees. And these 20 employees, they process transactions. When manager wants some information, which one is good? Talking to assistant manager is good or talking to individual is good? Assistant manager. Why? Because assistant manager manages all those 20 employees data in a consolidated way, right? Now, if a manager wants a report, with how many assistant managers this manager needs to talk? 4. But instead of that, let me tweak this hierarchy a bit. I'll keep one reporting analyst there. The reporting analyst job is to every day, end of the day, talk to all 4 managers, assistant managers, gathers all the data, consolidates in one place and keeps the report ready. Now tell me how many people or how many persons the manager needs to talk? Only one. Only one. Reporting analyst is there, right? So the reporting analyst is already consolidating all of them and keeping in one place. Now we are getting it, a data warehouse doing the same thing, gathering all the data from multiple databases and keeping it in one place so that anyone who wants to create a report directly connect to the data warehouse and create a report. Right? So why it is not recommended to interact with the OLTP databases directly is because the OLTP is meant to do what? Transactions, right? So that means these systems are already busy in serving the customers. What kind of way? By inserting, updating, deleting OLTPs. They are already busy there. And let's say you want to understand an analytical question answer you want to get. Something like, what is the average sale? If you ask this question, it is like an analysis question. If you are inserting a new record, it's simply insert, update, delete, right? Right? But if you want to know what is the maximum profit, it's like an analysis question. So how many customers have visited our stores? Analysis questions, right? So something, once the data is available there, then you can place all your analysis questions, okay? But in this case, just imagine if you are directly interacting with the OLTP database only to ask these analysis questions, right? You want to understand what is the total profit yesterday. In the OLTP also that data is there, but we don't directly talk to it. The reason being, as I told, these OLTP systems are already engaged in doing what? Serving so many customers. On top of that, if a question comes, like how many customers visited, right? Simple example, let's go back to our restaurant. Your server is busy in serving so many customers. 50 customers are there delivering the food and all, right? And making a note who all coming and how much is the money collected and all that, okay? There is no owner, okay? And this server only writing all those things, right? How many customers name, what is the name and all that, right? Suddenly manager comes, right? This person is already busy in serving so many, right? Everyone is waiting for the food and, like a lot of chaos is going on because 50 customers only one server. Now suddenly manager asks like, okay, tell me what is the total sales so far? This person has a list. Okay, the server has a list. Then the server needs to wait for a minute, look at the entire list, open the calculator, do some. While this is being done, the customers are still waiting, right? And this person said like, so far it is 10,520 rupees is what the total sale we made. And the server was again running to deliver the food, right? Now again the manager stops. Last like, okay, tell me what is the total customer count? You see, the server again comes back and checks like total so far 52 customers visited. And trying to go back and deliver the food, and the manager again asks one more analytical question. Okay, how many tables occupied right from the morning? You're getting the point? Manager requires all those analytical related questions to understand how the business is going on. The server that particular OLTP server job, right? What is it? Is to deliver the food, take the record, deliver the food, do the certain modifications in the food and things like that, right? But let me tell you another scenario here. There is a person, right? This person's job is to just to see who all are coming, what is that they are placing order, right? How many are coming, how many tables are occupied. The job of this person is only this, okay? But this person records that information only once the bill is generated, right? That means whatever the ongoing things are going on, this person, whoever is capturing this information, may not be aware ongoing things. Nothing but someone is placing an order and all that. But once the bill is generated, that person, whosoever we appointed recently, that person will definitely get to know because there is a bill generated and this is a bill number, these many customers visited, this is the table number, these are the things they have, ordered. Now you see the scenario. One person is taking care of serving the food and all that. The other person is only recording this information, like who all visited, how many customers, how many tables engaged and all. Now the manager comes. You tell me, who should this manager reach out to find out the total sale value?
Obviously, observer.
The observer,
Yeah.
the other one, right? Not the server, right? Understand this. If you engage your OLTP server answering your analytical questions, your other customers who are waiting for the food, their that process gets affected. Understand? But whosoever is one more person we appointed, right? Only to take care of this. This person can happily, easily answer this, but only one thing it can't, this person can't answer. What is it? The ongoing things, because until or unless the bill is generated, this person is not going to, get that information, right? But otherwise, is it okay if this person goes to each and every table? What is that you ordered? And no, right? They don't usually do. So that means they will have to wait until the bill is generated, so that the clarity will, right? Understand the same scenario now. OLTP is serving all the customers. OLAP, once that information or the bill is generated, capturing all that information and keeping it in one place, so that whatever the analytical questions are coming, that person can easily answer. Now you understand the importance of two different systems in the real time? Right, here we go. So whatever the original source of data is there, from those OLTPs, you get the information to the OLAP. And usually these are long transactions, right? And the processing time is also more, because these are analytical questions. Simple thing. If I ask you to write 43, 23, 33, you can write it easily, right? Just write it. But suddenly I ask, what is the sum of it? That is an analytical question. I also ask, what is the average of it? Right? Do our first number minus second number. You're getting the point? So these things will take some time for you. But if I'm telling you numbers, you can easily write them, or you can easily update them. You can easily delete them. But if I'm asking you analytical questions, you will take some time, right? Because you will have to engage your mind and do the calculation and come back with an answer. So usually the OLAP transactions, they take more time because they will have to perform analysis on the data. It's just not insert, update, delete, right? We usually write complex queries in OLAP, right? So what is this data normalization and integrity? Data integrity I'll show in the upcoming examples, but so far you understood the OLTP and OLAP, right? Why do we need to have two different systems? Because you cannot engage your OLTP dealing with your analytical questions also. If you do that, your regular transaction speed will get affected. Understood? Right? So that is the reason it is always recommended to get all the data from OLTP to OLAP. So this process is called ETL. Data engineering teams, they do this. They have these ETL developers. As part of the data engineering, they perform ETL and they build the data pipelines. Data pipeline is nothing from one system to the other system, the data flows. Right? Why do we need to make it flow from one system to the other system? Because you know that your OLTPs are already engaged in serving your customers. So let's not disturb that. Whatever the data that comes into your OLAP, there you can do whatever the questions you want to ask, analytical questions you can ask there. Right? Making sense now? Right, okay. Fine then. So online participants, is it okay so far? Any questions?
No question.
Perfect. So I'll take you through this integrity and normalization process. Okay, now you need to tell me before we start the introduction to SQL. Once you get placed, which system access you get, OLTP or OLAP?
OLAP.
Because we are going to be data analyst, right? We work with what? OLAP zone.
OL.
Correct, not OL. Okay, OLTPs are used by the data entry operators. Is it correct?
Yes, yes.
Because they enter the data, right? They enter insert update.
They are deleted, inserted, and updated.
Exactly. So insert, update, delete is done by the data entry operators. As a data analyst, our job is to analyze the data, whatever is there in your OLAP. So you usually hear this, the data warehouse team hasn't sent us the confirmation email to run the reports for today. You usually hear this once you get into this role, and your manager asks, like, you will have to wait until the data engineering team or the data warehousing team gives you a confirmation that the data warehouse is up to date, right? Only then you can run your reports. Why? Because you are not interacting with a live system. Live system is our OLTP system, right? OLAP system is a little outdated. Sometimes it is a 1 day lag will be there, like otherwise sometimes it may be a 2 days, 3 days, and sometimes there were projects I worked with a 1 week lag to migrate the data from OLTP to OLAP. There will be, sometimes 1 week lag also possible. Okay, fine then. Why should I learn SQL? Right? So if you learn SQL, you understand your requirement, so you can easily, what is that? Extract the required amount of data and create the reports. Reduce the dependency on the IT team. Right? You no need to reach out to your IT team requesting, okay, I want to get the last 1 week's data or current data. You don't need to do that because you know SQL, you only can write your queries and get the data. Perform better than peers and get recognized, be more employable, more skills, right? And this is one very, very important point. As an analyst, you know the requirement well, so that you can write a better query. Usually what happens is that you are, let's say, a functional analyst, you know the business, how it operates, and you know exactly what you need, but you are not from SQL background. What is that you need to do? You need to reach out to the IT team, requesting their help to write a query, to extract the data. You try your best to explain what is your requirement, but what if that, IT person understands your requirement little differently and creates a query and runs it, and you get the data and you create a report and understand that finally it is not looking okay because your data itself is incorrectly, there in your data, in your report itself. Understood the point? So as an analyst, you know your requirement well. So if you learn SQL, you only can write a better query. Why do you need to depend on others? It increases the turnaround time also. I can tell you my own experience, okay? We used to work in the evening shifts at that point in time because we used to have client meetings. Sit with the client, understand the requirement. Because we are from the functional side of the business, we understand how the data is coming into the systems and all. What business, what the client is looking for also, we have the idea. And we need to pass on the same communication to the IT team because they have the database access and all, and they only get us the data, right? So we write an email. Okay, this is what we used to do. We write an email explaining the client is looking for so and so, so and so. These are the conditions. You consider this X filter, Y filter, Z filter. Aggregate this and get me this final output. Okay, that is a summary. And IT team used to work in day shift. Okay, so we used to write that email around 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the night as soon as the client call is over. But when this IT team will pick up to next day morning because they at that point in time they love. Because by the time they used to have other deliverables also. Because every request that we send from the reporting team, they have an SLA like 48 hours. Within that 48 hours, they can respond anytime. So they used to skip that day. Let's say if the Monday evening the client call happens, Tuesday morning they check that because they got like 2 days SLA. They used to send that data to us. Let's say Wednesday afternoon. Okay. We used to log in around 6 o'clock in the evening. So we get the data, right? So Wednesday afternoon around 3 o'clock, they send the data. We logged in at 6 o'clock, we found the data. Okay, great. And evening we have client call again, Wednesday evening. Right? And we say what? Just in the afternoon only we got the data. So what we'll do tonight, we will work. Right? And we create the report. Around 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning, we send the report. By the time client logged out. Okay. When this client will check the report? Next day? So next day evening again, our evening, client is from USA, let's assume, right? You see, now we are already into Thursday evening. Wednesday, late night, nothing but early hours of our time is like logging out time, their time. So they logged out already, and after that we sent the report. Right now, Thursday evening, around 6 o'clock, we connected again and we say that, okay, we already sent the report early morning. So that's your shift logout time. And that client says, oh, I get it. Okay, now I see that email. Let me go through. Right? Right away, when they look at that number, they say that that number is not looking okay. It is not realistic because as far as the business is concerned, we understand the business very well, and I've been there in this system from the last 20 years, and this particular number cannot go beyond 10. It always ranges between 7 to 9, but your report is showing 11. It is impossible that this number can be 11. You see, because they are from the functional background, looking at the numbers, they can easily say that, okay, whether that is looking okay or not okay. When this discussion is happening, Thursday evening, right? Then we, after the call, because IT team logs out at 6 o'clock, right? After the call, after understanding the entire scenario, we realize there is something wrong with the data. And we write an email saying that, okay, hi IT team, looks like you have considered XYZ filter. Along with that, filter A also you considered, but we never requested for a filter A. Looks like you applied that filter A also. As a result, the report is looking incorrect. So please check this and correct it, and please send us the data. Please take it as top priority because client is waiting. We also mentioned this. When would they check that email? Friday morning. And we mentioned this is high priority. So they take it as priority, and they also respond saying back, okay, hi team, hi reporting team. Every time you usually request for filter X, filter Y, filter Z, and along with that filter A is also a default filter in all other reports. That's the reason we have included filter A also for this requirement. That is the reason we ran this report like this. So we are now resetting the filters and run the report, and we'll share the output soon. Right now, you see, I mean, I'm talking about all the practical things. What will happen now? They send us the report again in the afternoon, 3 o'clock. We logged in, 6 o'clock. Figured out the data well. Good thing is the reporting template is ready. We just replace the data, and calculations and everything got recalculated, refreshed the pivot tables and everything. Now the numbers are falling between let's say 7.8. Looks realistic now. Client came in, we showed the report. Client is okay. See the turnaround. 5 days it took almost. You got the point? What if you are aware of SQL? On the Monday evening itself, you only write the query. You understand the requirement well. You know what kind of filters to be used, and you get the data. And by end of the day, you can run the report and you can share it. And the next day evening call itself, by Tuesday itself, it's clear. Something wrong also, by Wednesday itself, it is clear. You're getting the point. So this is the reason, if you are from the functional side of the business, good to learn SQL, so that you only can write your queries, right? See that how much time you can save, right? Aggregations like sum, count, averages, and other so many things can be easily applied in SQL instead of writing a very complex formula in Excel. Excel formulas sometimes they look very complex when compared to SQL functions. You can easily implement SQL functions. Okay, and also understand the tools like Power BI, Tableau, ClickView. You can easily understand because the data modeling and everything works with the same concepts like SQL only. Got the point? Right. What is a database? Any collection of related information, you can consider that as a database. Anything. Like a phone book or a shopping list or a to-do list. So the database can be stored in different places. Your mind is your database, very dangerous database, right? Forgets all important things, remembers all unnecessary things. That is a very dangerous database, I would say, right? But the best place to store a database is a computer, because computers have got these hard disks, SSDs or NVMe's. So there you can store your data. So the best place to store the data is a computer, because we have the hard disks or the SSDs, right? Solid state drives. Okay, so any collection of information is database. Okay, so collection of data objects and data objects used to store and manage data. So you can consider that as database, and it includes tables, views, stored procedures, triggers, and all. But when it comes to a database here, there are a few files and few databases here. And usually what we consider them as, both of them as databases, but you need to understand there is something called RDBMS. when it comes to a relational database management system, you cannot consider these two as database files. Okay, these are simply files. But these are databases: Access database, SQL Server database, Oracle database. Okay, these are simple files. These are not managed by any server, but these are managed by server. Okay, and we are going to work with SQL Server databases only. Okay, what is SQL? Pronounced as SQL, right? I think we already discussed what is SQL. It's a language that is commonly understood by client and the server, right? So commonly understood by both client and the server. That is a common language, right? It is a media through which we can store and read the data from a relational database, structured query language. So it is to communicate with the database. You also have a very common question here. People usually talk about SQL and SQL Server. What are they? Server is your server application. SQL Server is a server application. Then what is SQL? It is a language using which we talk to the server. In the restaurant, there is a server, right? With that server, what is the language we use? SQL, right? The name of the server is SQL Server. There is Oracle Server, there is IBM Server, there is a MySQL Server. So these are the server names, and these servers, they accept different types of, or the variants of SQL. And which variant of SQL are we learning here? TSQL, Transact SQL. Is that okay? Okay, I think looking at the image now, it makes it much more easier for you to understand. Where are we in this entire image? We are here as a client. We use a client application here. Okay, using a SQL command, I write it. Select star from transactions table where the region is equal to East, product category is equal to furniture, and the transaction date falling between so and so date to so and so date. I trigger that query. Okay, using some logic, using SQL language with some certain requirement, I trigger that query. That query hits the server, my DBMS, database management system. This is to manage the databases. It's my server. And what kind of a query I trigger? What I want to extract some data from the last 6 months, or using East region and furniture category. So what kind of a query is it? It's a data retrieval query, one of the types of the query. It can do so many different things. Okay, SQL, but I am using what? A data retrieval query. So this data retrieval query hits my database, and I'm sorry, database management system, the server, and that server will go to the physical database. This physical database, it may have so many tables. It may have finance tables, marketing tables, sales tables, right? Admin tables, operation tables, and so many tables are there. But which table I want to interact with? Sales table, because transactions are sales here, right? So that sales table is here. Let's assume I'm just showing, right? Just imagine that there is a small table there that has a last 10 years data, but we are requesting only last 6 months data. So the server will get us that 6 months data using so and so condition. That data, whatever is retrieved, that will be displayed on my screen. So using that data, I can start creating the reports. It can be Excel report, Power BI report, Tableau report, ClickSense report, or Google Data Studio. So many reporting applications we have, right? We can use any of these applications to build the report. Now you got the idea now, right? We as a client, we use a client application. We send a query, which could be a data retrieval query that gets into the database, gets us the required amount of data, and that shows the data on the screen, and we create the reports. Simple, right? You tell me, what is the language that we use here to interact with the database management system? SQL, right? So we are clients. This is server. Server has a database, and the common language that we use is SQL. Make sense now?
So we ourselves fully making our requirement and to know the sales orders as per the client requirement.
Client asks, client only gives us the requirements. So they say that, okay, we want to analyze the last 1 year data. So please find out the trends in the sales.
And for example, if I wanted to know the personal, thing, so I can also extract it.
You can do that. You can do that. Sometimes out of our interest also, we may want to do little bit of additional analysis also. You may see some certain pattern in the data that you want to report it to the client, okay? Probably I can tell you a simple example here. So client never get to see these kind of things because they don't directly work with the database, but you are identifying a certain pattern there. The pattern is morning 9 o'clock, a customer, different customers are coming. Every day, they are buying the milk packets. Okay. Every day. Almost like every day, whatever the 100 milk packet stock you are keeping in your stock supermarket, between 9 to 9:15, all the milk packets are sold. Okay. And this has been, let's assume this has been started from last 1 month. When you are looking at the data, right? Because you have access to all the tables and all. When you are looking at the patterns in the data, you identify this, right? And you also check with that store. You have like multiple stores, and every store it is happening like this. And you check with that store manager, like what's happening with the milk. And they say that every day by 9:15, we are able to sell all the milk packets. And after that, also around 15 to 20 customers are still visiting our store for the milk packets. But as we are running out of the stock, we are saying no milk packets available. Are you losing out any opportunity there for making some additional money?
Yes, of course.
Definitely yes, right? So there is demand, but you don't have the stock, right? So as a data analyst, if you are able to figure this pattern, right, something is happening there. That's the reason, every day from your shop only people are preferring to buy the milk. You're getting it? So you as a data analyst, you figure this out. So definitely that's a bit more value. What is it you can do is you just report it to the client. But okay, this is another pattern I'm seeing. I think it is good to keep more milk packets. I'm giving you a very simple example so that we all can easily understand. Because you have access to the data and you can see all the patterns even before your client sees it. Then you only can go ahead and suggest the client, okay, keep a few more, maybe a 15, 20 extra packets there. Let us try it out. Right? So that the business can make more money. Out of our interest also, sometimes we create our own queries to check what's happening. Right? So RDBMS, Relational Database Management System, it is basically to manage our databases that have tables that can have relationships. Okay, what is a table? What is a relationship? What is a key? All these things I'll discuss. There are 13 rules proposed by EF Code, right? It means that the data is stored in multiple tables having relationships between them using the keys and constraints. This is where we talk about primary key and a foreign key. Okay. So a relational database management system is to manage the data which is stored in the form of tables that have the relationships. Okay, what is it and all exactly? We'll see that. All right then. Advantages of the SQL. I'll cover this part tomorrow. Okay. So many things are there. I'll take you through step by step. And here we talk about controlling redundancy and inconsistency, efficient memory management indexing. This is where I'll explain the data normalization process also. Why do we need to perform data normalization? Okay. These things may be sounding little new at this point: redundancy, data normalization, data denormalization, indexing, and things like that. But there are simple examples for this, and you all can easily understand, no complexity at all, right? Because I also come from the non-technical background. So I understand how we feel the moment you hear about any technical words. We are not comfortable with them, right? So I have a few examples. But for today, I hope all of you understood that entire, SQL environment, how it looks. You just take a restaurant example. There we are like a client and we have a server, and server job is to serve the food, right? Basis on the request we place, right? And how the server behaves, like more number of customers, how the server behaves, right? Why don't we ask the analytical questions to the OLTP, because it's already engaged in dealing with a lot of customer requests, and also you understood, right, overall concept. Perfect then. So tomorrow I'll explain the advantages of SQL, and tomorrow only we will try to install SQL Server 2022 Developer Edition. No need to pay any subscription fee because it is a developer edition. It's for free. We can use it. Okay, we can't use that for the production environment, but the testing and development environment, we can use it. Okay, fine then. So any questions so far? Are we good? You understood? Why as an analyst, why do we need to learn SQL? You understood? Right, got some idea, right? Perfect then. So let's do this. Tomorrow we'll see the advantages of SQL. Redundancy, inconsistency, data normalization, denormalization, integrity constraints, what is a primary key, what is a foreign key, what is indexing, so many things are there. I have a few simple examples to understand this. So we'll do that tomorrow. Done? Perfect then. So the material would have been already uploaded into Google Drive already. From there, you download it and keep it ready because tomorrow you need these slides to download the server and the client. Client application also we need to download. Okay, we'll do this. Right.
Will you bring the laptop tomorrow?
You can, if you want, you can bring the laptop here and you can do it. But this usually takes some good half an hour time to install from internet. So you can do it at home also. Anyways, by the time you will be part of the WhatsApp group, right? Just in case if you come across any error, send the screenshot there and I'll help you out how you can fix that issue. Okay, if you want to bring your laptop, you can bring. But it's not like very complex installation process. There are certain steps to be followed. I'll let you. Okay. Is everything fine? Speed is okay? Able to follow, right?
Yes.
All right, online participants, everyone okay with the speed and the example?
Yes, it's good.
Okay, cool then. So let's catch up.
Done.
Thanks everyone. See you.